freedom of time and space. That's something that I value a lot more than just money. Being able to focus, in almost majority of my time on what I want to do, whether it is volunteering, exercising, exploring, traveling, family, and work kind of fills in the blank, in the morning, maybe midday, in the evening, and it's very much the opposite of majority of people who have their work as the central piece
Right.
of their entire life, pretty much,
Yeah.
and often they're unhappy in that job or in that that work, and the rest, family and spirituality and so on, kind of just surrounds it. But I don't think it is the healthiest, lifestyle. I like focusing on me and what's important to me, so I have no regret in life.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, 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 Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. Today, we have Karim Kerachni with us, and he is going to tell us all about what he's up to and who he is. Take it away, Karim.
Absolutely. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And thank you for having me, Dr. G. I'm very happy to be here. So I'm Karim Kerachni. I'm the head of franchise development in Massachusetts for propertyguest.com right here. But before that, I've started a couple of businesses, and I'm deep into the entrepreneurship and business space. And that's something that really drives me, excites me. And I'm always happy to share any kind of knowledge and value that I can with people around me.
Okay. So you have got to tell us, because since there's an accent, right? So you got to tell us like your backstory. Like, how did you end up in Massachusetts, and how did you end up getting involved in entrepreneurship? All of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to start not when I was born, but almost.
Right.
So I was actually, it's a fun, it's an interesting story. I was born in Canada. My parents are Algerian. I grew up in France most of my life. And then for the end of my master's degree, so when I was 23, 24-ish, I had to do a semester abroad. So I've decided, hey, let's go to Canada. I want to go check out Canada because I have the citizenship, but I've just never been since I was 2.5 years old. So I went there originally for 6 months. Then I extended for another 6 months. And fast forward, it's been almost 10 years that I've been in Canada, out west initially for the first 4 years, then out east in Halifax, Nova Scotia, for those who are familiar.
Nice.
And actually Massachusetts, I don't live there permanently. I kind of go back and forth. That's where I operate this business, but I have another business in Halifax and another one in Ottawa. And even personally, I've grown my businesses with the mindset of being, removing myself from the process, or at least not having to, be tied to an office or location, because I love traveling. I'm a big traveler, and now for the past year and a half, I've been traveling almost year round. I'm actually in Malaysia right now.
Oh,
Here you
look at
go.
that. Oh, you're on my side of the world.
Hey, here you go. Yeah. Where are you located?
In the Pacific, near to Japan, in Guam.
Oh, in Guam. Oh, that's so
Yes.
nice. We're pretty much in the same time zone then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
There you go. And so yeah, but my focus is now on property, guys, which I'm operating mostly in Massachusetts, but I'm also helping some colleagues in other states. And the idea is a franchise. Just to give some background, because I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with what a franchise is. A franchise is basically instead of starting a business from scratch and having to figure things out and grow a brand and so on, and potentially failing, because not majority, but 20% of franchise do fail in the first couple of years. So the alternative that is a lot safer, a lot cheaper as well, is to buy a franchise. So to buy an existing brand and systems and processes and set of support system that is in a package. And you buy that for a certain amount. Big brands like McDonald's, we're all familiar with, are typically in the $1.5 million. But there are other franchise that are closer to 20, 30, 40 grand. It doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. And that allows you to start with basically multiple miles ahead than other startups. A lot less risk. It's a known brand reputation. Maybe a portfolio of clients and so on and so forth. So that's what a franchise is. And so what I'm doing is a franchise in the real estate space. It's a Canadian franchise that is now expanding internationally, actually. And the idea of propertyguys.com, that's the name of the company, is to offer an alternative solution, a different way of doing real estate, something very new, unique. There is literally nothing else out there that is even similar. And by doing so, allowing property buyers and sellers to keep controlling the process of buying and selling, but also saving dozens of thousands of dollars every single time in the process. So it's a very exciting business and brand, and I'm bringing that to Massachusetts, finding some people to champion this model in their local community.
Awesome. And so you obviously had a pathway to get into all of this, right? So you mentioned university, you mentioned all that, you mentioned how you skipped over the pond and came to Canada. But how is it that you got involved in entrepreneurship? Like, there had to be something that sparked that, and then there had to be some fear involved in all of that, going from what you've known in France to unknown in Canada, and then going into finishing up school and then going into the real world to the unknown again. There had to be some fear involved in that. Can you speak to it?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because as you were saying that, I realized that, every step of the way there is some, I wouldn't call it fear, actually. I would call it, for me personally, it is more a form of excitement. Going into the unknown is, I genuinely enjoy going out of my comfort zone. So moving to a whole different country, all by myself, is scary in a sense, but also very exciting, because you're going to discover a whole range of things, skills and culture and people and so on. And then moving from out west to out east, same thing. I didn't know anyone when I moved there. Then I started my business. So to answer your question, when I moved to Canada, so I was doing a semester at university. Then I was just figuring out what I'm going to do. I started working in sales, because I had a little bit of experience in sales for a company named Vivint Smart Home, working in sales for a few years, growing in the company, gaining lots of, skills and knowledge in sales, which is something that anyone should have, no matter, whatever you do in life. It is so important to have those soft skills. It's ability to communicate, to convince, to listen and understand, who's in front of you, and so on and so forth. And so using that, I moved out east to, one of the reasons was to open an office, a new branch for that company. But very quickly, as I was in Halifax, I noticed a big demand in cleaning. There was a big need. There wasn't that, companies that were that great. There are some solopreneurs and there are some big companies, but there is no, in between, this smaller businesses with 10 to 20 people that are still local and friendly and approachable, but also have the capacity of a larger company. So that's basically what I aimed to build. 3 months after moving to Halifax. And so along the way, so that's when my entrepreneurial path started. I've had that in mind for a while. I've helped some people, starting their business and observing at the same time. But I've never started something for myself, and that was the right opportunity. Just because the opportunity was there, and I don't take too long in deciding, is that the right thing? I'm going to do a bunch of market research. I'm going, because that's, I think, where you can get into this fear that becomes paralyzing instead of fear that is exciting. I think there is a time window where that fear is exciting because it's something new. Let's see how it's gonna go. But at some point, the more you think about it, the more you dwell over it, the more you might be overthinking and talking yourself out of it, right?
Yeah.
So there might be some kind of time component in that. But anyhow, to continue with my story, so I saw this opportunity. I jumped into it. I started this brand. Starting gaining clients and learning the job also, because I've never done cleaning before. That's never been a passion of mine. And it was really fun. I learned a lot personally. I learned a lot in business entrepreneurship. I was very much ready to fail, and I didn't have that much money in the bank. So on the one hand, it's fine if it doesn't work out. I'll do something else. On the other hand, when you burn your ship or burn your bridge, when you have no other immediate solution to your situation, I think that's when you have more chances to succeed than compared to if you have another job waiting for you, and I'm just gonna try that and see how it goes, and worst case scenario, you have this. Not having any other option is usually a great way to go all in, and reach a certain level of success. By the way, it reminds me, that's what happened also prior to that. When I was out west and I started working with Vivint, I also had no money at that time. I wasn't sure if I should go back to France, what I should do and whatnot. And as you know, in sales, it's a very tough job.
Yes, it is.
And you need to have a very strong, why, and a very strong motivation. So it was actually perfect that I had pretty much no other option. I had to do or die type of thing. And I've done pretty good. Then my cleaning company, I had to make it work, and it worked out. So I think it's having this mindset of I have to succeed no matter what, also pushes you forward. And finally, a few years ago, just to finish with my professional life so far. A few years later, as my business grew, we opened another branch in Ottawa. I managed to remove myself successfully from the process and delegating, having processes and systems, and having people, operating the business. That's when I came across this opportunity with Property Guys. Pretty much randomly, someone just mentioned it to me, and I looked into it. And once again, I saw that there was not only a real need and demand for what Property Guys does, but also a great opportunity for myself, bringing something new to a new market, something I really believe in that brings a ton of value to people. That's the kind of thing that really drive me, and I've decided to go ahead. It took some time to research, finding some investors, because I had to buy in the state, and starting the business and learning a bunch of things that I haven't learned in my first business. I was maybe a little cocky at that time and thinking, I've seen it all. I started already 2 businesses. I know everything. But actually, I learned even more from that new experience. Here we are now. It's been about a year and a half ago since I launched Property Guys in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Wow. That's really good. I love that you've had multiple experiences with entrepreneurship, and it sounds like they all were very different. And also the other thing is, you said something that was very, very, very good, because you said, I think there's a temporal relationship between when fear becomes crippling and when fear is a motivator. And I think that's awesome, because I think a lot of times when people are looking to do something like that, branch out on their own, they tend to not have the same kind of why that you had, where, you know, there's no other option, like back against the wall, like if this doesn't work, you know, I guess it's back to France, you know, like they didn't have that kind of thing. And so that is a huge driver. And the other thing is, you know, just realizing that, like, you know, this is something that can really benefit you. Like, you can have like your dream realized if you are good at this, or if you learn from this, or if you grow from this. And just early adopting, right? Because a lot of times with entrepreneurs, like, either they do what you did, which is, you know, you realize that the time is short, and the quicker you adapt, the quicker you adopt, the faster you will grow. And it will either be successful or it will not be successful, or the things that you try will be successful or they won't. But it will be a stepping stone that you're learning from each and every time. And so that's like the ultimate entrepreneurial mind. Like, I don't know, I'm not an entrepreneurial expert, but like, just in listening to people like talk about entrepreneurship, and it just seems like that is the common thread. The people who have a big why, and the people who are very flexible and adapt rapidly, they usually have the greatest success, you know. So, because it's not for the faint of heart. I keep saying it. Like, entrepreneurship is awesome, but it is not for the faint of heart. And if you let the time pass and you're like super analytic about it, and you're like, let me do all the things and cross the T's and dot the I's, your opportunity will pass you by and you will not do anything. So that's amazing that at such a young age, you were able to figure that out. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available if you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us. Then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. Now, is anybody in your family an entrepreneur? Like, did you see this ahead of time or no?
No, not really. So I had, my grandpa, when I was young, he did have a little, convenience shop, convenience store. I really don't think that that's something that, influenced me in many ways. Maybe subconsciously, I'm not sure, but it's something that I grew over time. I actually started my studies in engineering just because I was, good at science. I liked science. The natural path was to go to engineering school, which is the equivalent of a university in France. And halfway through, I decided, no, you know what, that's really fun, but it's not for me. I don't see myself, I don't project myself as an engineer. So I switched halfway through to a business school, and I did my business school. And even within the business school, I changed major multiple times. So I've seen it all, and I very much haven't had my path, clearly defined. I like going with the flow. Again, coming back to the opportunities. Whenever I believe that obviously you have to put the effort, but whenever something good for you, is meant to happen, it will appear. Then it's obviously your responsibility and your duty almost to jump into it, to grab onto that opportunity. Whether you're going to succeed or not, that actually doesn't matter. But when you see a good opportunity, you've done a little bit of research. You also follow your guts, your instinct, which you can develop actually over time. It's not something necessarily that you have perfect at first. But anyhow, whenever you grab onto that opportunity, then you go ahead, and there is no benefit in looking back and wondering what if, and would I, should I, could I, because at the end of the day, as you said it very, very well, as you said it very well, it's either, you succeed, whatever the definition of success is for you, by the way, you reach that goal or close to it, or you fail, quote unquote, but even if you do fail through certain aspect, it is always a learning opportunity. You've learned something from that failure, or at least you should. You've met people, you've developed maybe some type of skills and so on, which will, as you said, will be a stepping stone to the next the next venture or whatever you do next. But again, to follow up on what you said, it is not something for the faint of heart, as you said. It's been glamorized a lot in the past, I don't know, decades, I'm not sure. And it has lots of great aspects, but it is also very tough at times. I mean, imagine having your own boss, whether you like him or not, in your own head constantly. So you're always thinking of something work related, one way or another. So you better like what you do. You better have a passion for your business or your industry, because it's constantly in the back of your mind. The next thing, another a person to call, a smaller failure that happened that you dwindle over. You lost maybe a client or something. So I do have times where I'm imagining how it would be to just have a job, to have a 9 to 5, and not take my work home in the evening, on the weekends, having a set salary, and it's just for a certain period of time. Then I remember, and I'm very grateful for everything I have in terms of freedom of space, of time, or making my own schedule. Working for my whatever I want to reach, I work towards it, and it's a lot of fun.
No, absolutely. There's definitely I like how you put it, a glamorization of entrepreneurship. There's not a lot of focus on the I don't want to say the untoward side, but like the downside. Like they're definitely, it's a roller coaster, right? I mean, there's times when you're like, oh my gosh, you're headed, you're like knocking your head, like, what am I going to do? How I'm going to solve this problem? Or, like you said, maybe you lose a client and you're like, that's going to help you to meet your mark for the month. And these are things that people don't necessarily talk about. They do talk about the freedom, which there's a lot of freedom. But the freedom has a price too. You have to be able to deal with the downsides in order to be able to truly enjoy the high points, right? So that part is omitted when they glamorize it. No, that's awesome. And then so now tell us, like, how, if somebody's interested in connecting with you, tell us how they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, Karim Kerachni, I'm the only one, so I'm easy to find.
But if you have to spell that more, so they can find it.
Oh, yes. For those who don't have, so Karim, Karim, like Mike, and Kerachni, Kerachni. They can also simply search Property Guys Massachusetts, propertyguys.com Massachusetts, any of that on Google, and they will they will find me quite easily. And I can also give actually my professional phone number, which is 857-308-1234. 857-308-1234. I'm also very responsive through text specifically. So yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. All right. And is there anything that you're working on right now that you are finding that you have to convert that fear into excitement? Is there any new projects coming up?
Yeah, so I'm working on lots of things. So actually, my cleaning business in Canada right now, we're looking at selling it. I got a business partner who bought in half less than a year ago. So we've done some changes. We grew it, stabilized it, and now we're looking to sell. So it's it's another part of entrepreneurship and the business world is to sell a business. And it does, there is a lot of things that come into it. We had to hire a bookkeeper because I haven't, been great in keeping the books organized, those kind of things. So that's a whole different journey that I'm learning from, and it's also very exciting for the path and the learning opportunity. Besides that, regarding Property Guys, so we have the first few franchisees that are going to be starting very soon around Boston area. So that's also pretty exciting because it's been basically 2 years in the work from when I discovered Property Guys, learned about it, wanted to get involved, got started, and now the first few franchisees. So that's 2 years. By the way, part of the not so glamour part of entrepreneurship. That's 2 years with no income, with working, lots of hours, with just a dream, a plan, something I truly believe will work. But besides that, I had nothing concrete. So you have to have such a strong belief in what you're doing and the value that it's bringing. So anyways, that's finally opening up and it's very exciting, and that's the the next step for the business as well, because another part besides finding franchisees, selecting franchisee, awarding those franchise, is also offering some support to them in addition to home office, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. All right, cool. So now I have a question for you. Are you ready for our tradition on the show, which is fill in the blanks?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Awesome. The first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
If I am fearless, I will set some clear goals, a clear path, action steps to reach that goal, and make sure that I'm learning along the way. I'm not afraid to be out there, to ask for help, and to grow a strong network and promote what I'm doing. A lot of people kind of fall back into just doing some advertising and being online and not really showing their face or their voice. And no, if you want to grow your business or whatever you're doing, you're the face of that project, and make sure to show your pretty face.
Nice, like it. All right, and the next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Fearless freedom, to me personally, it means having freedom of time and space. That's something that I value a lot more than just money. Being able to focus, in almost majority of my time on what I want to do, whether it is volunteering, exercising, exploring, traveling, family, and work. Kind of fills in the blank, in the morning, maybe midday, in the evening. And it's very much the opposite of majority of people who have their work as the central piece of their entire life, pretty much. And often they're unhappy in that job or in that that work, and the rest, family and spirituality and so on, kind of just surrounds it. But I don't think it is the healthiest lifestyle. I like focusing on me and what's important to me, so I have no regret in life.
Love it. I love that you keep bringing up that no regrets thing. I think that is such a key, because I think a lot of times we tend to live our lives stunted because we are afraid of stepping out there and doing those things. And to me, I am personally more afraid of being at the end of my life, if I'm blessed to have many years, and then looking back and saying, man, I wish I had done that. You know what I mean? To me, that's worse.
Exactly.
But yeah. Some people, they just get so crippled by that, not wanting to put themselves out there in front of their comfort zone. And then they end up on the regret pathway. So I love it.
100%.
I love that you said that.
I don't think there are I don't think there are many. I mean, if you ask, people in, at the end of their life, and there are, videos you can find even on YouTube, people who've done that, talk to very, older people. What are, the regrets you have in life? None of them, literally 0%, say that I wish I made more money. I wish I
Right.
worked harder.
Yes.
For everyone, it is that family time. It is those experiences. It might be those travels or whatnot. So that's something that is core in my values. It's working and living at the same time, not waiting for 60 or 70 years old, if I even reach that age. We never know. To potentially enjoy my life if I'm able to, and so on and so forth.
No, that's fantastic. That's really good. Yeah, I try to tell my children this. So that's good. Because you just never know. And then the last one is my battle cry is.
So I have many, but I would say my new one that I kind of live by is work to live, don't live to work. Don't again on everything that we discussed. Don't make your job or your work the central piece in your life, but focus on you, figuring out who you are, what you want to do, how to get there, not just what you want to do as a dream, but how can I get there in the next year, in the next 10 years, whatever long it might be, and how to adapt. You said it very well earlier, adapting quickly to each situation, because there will be challenges, there will be failures along the way. Don't even be surprised. You know that it's going to happen.
Right.
So if you know that, you can then adapt quickly to everything that happens, and keep a good mindset and direction.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karim, for taking time out and spending it with us here at the Fearless Freedom Tribe. And I'm just going to have you say we'll actually spell out your name that they can reach you on LinkedIn once again. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. So it is Karim Kerachni. So Kerachni. That's my last name. And Karim, Karim. And with propertyguys.com in Massachusetts. And thank you so much for having me. It was absolutely lovely. I was excited to chat with you, and I'm very happy. I feel like we could have continued for hours.
Fair. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.